So I was out at a bar in Sydney with some of my friends, and I was in the middle of a rant about how Australian men don't make good lovers and I wasn't going to sleep with any of them again. And he looked over the table at me with absolute confidence, locked eyes and said, "Not all Australian men are bad lovers." I would say maybe like 8 hours with only stopping for water breaks. I don't know how many times I came, but I know one of them I nearly lost consciousness.
Wow.
Part of it was pure skill at everything that he did with his hands, with his mouth, with everything.
Wow.
But there was like this intense magnetism between the two of us. By the time I ended, I feel like I was just floating on air.
Hi, I'm Laura Risholi, and this is The Sex That Changed My Life, the show that looks at how intimacy and relationships can shape our lives and uncover who we really are.
It was absolutely magical.
Oh, yes.
I've wanted this for so long.
Right there. Oh.
Don't stop.
Hi, welcome back to The Sex That Changed My Life. So there's this idea that one-night stands are trashy or in some way degrading for women. And I think that outdated idea goes hand in hand with another outdated belief, that women always become emotionally attached through sex, or that emotional connection is somewhat of a prerequisite for pleasure. And sure, sometimes it is. Sometimes the best sex does happen in love. But sometimes good sex is just good sex. Sometimes sizzling, unexplainable chemistry with a stranger is enough. That's exactly what happened for Peach. She met a man on a weekend away with friends, and as you just heard, she had a great time. It was a spontaneous, electric night, and she never saw him again, nor did she want to. This, my babes, is the story of a modern woman, a woman who let herself indulge in desire without needing it to become a relationship, and that you can leave a one-night stand feeling really damn good. Here's Peach to tell you the story. Peach, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here.
I'm excited.
We've known each other for a long time, but we've never really hung out, which is
We've been
strange.
in each other's scope.
Yeah.
In the sphere.
In the sphere. Like, I knew about you. We dated the same person
We
once.
did, yeah.
Yeah. But today we're going to talk about not hospitality. We're going to talk about one-night stands,
I'm so excited.
which is very exciting. This is a passionate topic of mine. So would you like to take us away with the life-changing sex that you had, or the sex that changed your life?
Well, I mean, what a good place to start.
Yeah. Starting strong.
So I was maybe 22, 23, and I was just in the middle of my figuring out my sexual life. And I was visiting a friend down in Sydney. We were staying at her place, having many drinks, many nights out, and a few of her friends kind of came around and were joining us for one of the weekends. And one of the boys took a shine to me. And he was trying for a while. And I was in this phase of trying to collect European lovers and different areas. I was like ticking off the flags, basically. And I was like, I will not sleep with an Australian man again. I'm like, they're not good lovers. I'm not doing it. And he was like, not all of them. And after maybe 2 days of the not all of them, with such genuine confidence, I was like pretty curious by the end. So maybe after the third day of hanging out and him being charming and kind and all of the other things that you want as well as like 6'4", which always helps.
It helps.
Yeah, we did go home together and it was the most mind-blowing experience of my life. I would say maybe like 8 hours with only stopping for water breaks. I don't know how many times I came, but I know one of them I nearly lost consciousness.
Wow.
And by the time I ended, I feel like I was just floating on air. I walked home to Daniela and I was like, that was the best experience of my life. I can't believe it. He's an absolute sex god. And she was like, him? Really? I couldn't have expected that. But yeah, I think that really shaped me because a lot of the one night stands I'd had before that were kind of fulfilling, but not that all-consuming level of connection that you would expect to experience only when you're in love with somebody.
Yeah.
And I hadn't really known that you could have that just from knowing someone from 2 days and, you know, not barely caring about each other, but I mean,
Yeah.
kind of like, see you on your way and that's fine.
Yeah.
So that was definitely a big change in my mentality towards sex.
Wow. I have so many questions. Okay, so maybe let's start with the European men versus Australian men debate.
Okay.
I think a lot of women feel this way about Australian men.
Especially about dating.
Yes, especially about dating. It's a very prominent conversation on the internet right now.
Yeah.
But what was your sort of thought process behind Australian men not being good lovers?
You know, I mean, at that time, again, I was pretty young into my sexual career. But I think my experience had been just underwhelming.
Yeah.
I felt like the mentality was that they were just kind of looking out for their own needs as quickly as possible, shall we
Right.
say? And with everyone that I'd slept with when they were from somewhere else, I guess the culture does shape how you behave and how you think sexually. And all of the European people, men that I had slept with, were more generous, more attentive, more aware of my body, more likely to check in verbally and see how I was feeling. And so I just found that like much more fulfilling than the boys who'd had 10 VBs and were like just done when they were done, you know?
Yeah. Did you like go to Europe, or was this like experiences with European men in Australia?
Oh, this is totally in Australia.
Totally. I love that for you.
There was a little bit of travel actually. I did
Yeah.
go to India and have a Swedish lover for a while.
Oh, love that.
yeah.
Multicultural. I feel the same way. I've always struggled with this because I love the romance of European people. I love how they're not nonchalant, and that's cool. Like, we're so about nonchalance in Australia. Like, the less you say, the hotter you are.
Totally.
And I just never loved that. But then I also am attracted to white guys. I'm Italian, and I think that's why. Like, when I go to Italy, I'm kind of like, I love the romance, but I don't want to have sex with you.
Right.
But then here I'm like, I hate the romance, but I want to have sex with you.
I don't think there's a particular look that I'm attracted to anymore. I think, you know, when I was 18 or something, I'd go into bars and I'd be wearing my heels, and you probably can't tell from the video, but I'm very tall. And I would be wearing these like thick inch heels, and just my head would be above the sea of heads, and I would basically just kind of like scope around. I'd be like, that guy's head is above the sea of heads too.
Yeah.
And he's also checking me out, and then I would just stride over and be like, do you want a shot? And it would just be on from there. So
Love it.
that was the type for a while. But after that, I think
Yeah.
I like it all.
Yeah. Also with Australian men, let's dive into that a little bit more as well, because I think this is a thing that used to happen a lot in my early 20s too. But when you're so young, you just don't really know what's acceptable or not acceptable. And there were so many times where I would like have pretty underwhelming sex. So I'd already be feeling a bit like that was not great. And then they would like, you know, not order me an Uber home, not have anything to drink in the fridge, not ask me how I was feeling.
They don't know how to entertain. Europeans know how to entertain.
Totally. Maybe it's like house manners.
I honestly think that's part of it. Yeah. There's this culture of looking after the other in most cultures. And Australian culture doesn't really have that.
I think also, just the sort of care things like cooking someone food or making them coffee or asking them if they're okay to get home. Like these things are like manners to me.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, but those types of manners create a conscientiousness of the other. And Australia doesn't have that, sadly.
Yeah. No, it doesn't. And
Not
I'm like,
unless they have some other culture in their family.
totally. So that's so awesome that you recognize that so early 20s.
I think I was also going through this like empowerment phase with that, you know, because I'd been very shy with sex when I was younger. I was like gawky and really tall and freckled and pale in a town where like being tan was the thing.
Yeah.
This little flat-chested, awkward, gangly girl. So I didn't really explore myself in early days. And so when I was in my like 19, 20, 21 phase, I was like, we're gonna do it now. Like we're absolutely getting out there. And so part of it was definitely a consciousness of, okay, those experiences weren't as much fun for me. Part of it was just the thrill of something new and maybe just trying to be a little bit bold and be like, this is what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
So I think it played in, but it worked out very well for me. And I think this is why exploring your sexuality and having sex with anyone that really draws you and makes you feel like you want to, not that makes you feel like you should because they want to, is really important because you learn so much about yourself.
Yes, this is a great segue for like, let's talk about one night stands, because I think a lot of people listening, I think there's also a lot of conversation at the moment about how people want sex to be really meaningful and they want it to be with someone that cares about them. And there's a lot of negative discourse around like situationships or like one night stands, or personally for me, they have been so like instrumental in me learning about who I am. Similar thing for you. So did you already feel that way before you had this one night stand in Sydney?
I mean, I'm not sure if I was so consciously aware of it then. I think I've always been someone who's chased experiences.
Yeah.
I've loved to travel. I love to taste new food. I love to do new things. I like to try new styles of clothing. I like it all. I'm a bisexual Sagittarius. I like to do everything.
Yeah.
So part of it is that. And I think there are a lot of things that I learned about myself, not because I was expecting to get it out of that. I just wanted to be like a powerful woman who was in charge of her body. But yeah, inadvertently, you do learn a lot about yourself. And I do think there's a lot of value in, you know, having sex with somebody that you love, obviously. That's a wonderful experience too. But I think that there are a lot of things that are within you that are only going to be unearthed in unexpected ways.
Completely.
Yeah.
Completely agree. What would you say are some of the things you learned about yourself during that era of your life?
Well, I mean, I learned a lot of sexual interests that I wouldn't have expected in myself. I think one of the things that in my experience when I've been kind of in the making love with somebody that I'm already really connected with, you're quite tentative and careful in the exploration of what you both might want to try with each other because you don't want to step on each other's toes. When you're in a one night stand, you're like, let's speak frankly. What do you like?
Yes.
Am I willing to try it out? Yes or no? And so it's kind of like this roller coaster ride. And as long as you're confident enough to be able to say, no, thank you, then that is a really rewarding experience. And there's a ton of times where you're like, maybe.
Yeah.
And then you do it and you're like, I'm going to put that on the list. Like that's a one for next time as well, you know?
Really?
So I think you learn a lot about your interests and your desires and what makes you wet and horny in a way that you might not do if you were like cautious of losing somebody's attraction because you care so much about it.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not going to see you tomorrow. I'll give it a go.
Yeah,
You know?
totally. I've always said this, that being in a casual sexual environment that you feel comfortable in is the best place to try new things, especially like things that maybe you do feel a little uncomfortable about, because I think the language can feel really complicated. Like you might be in a situation and think, I don't want to say anything that's going to make them feel uncomfortable. I don't want to say, and those things sort of evaporate a bit when you've got a person who you don't like really care what they think about you tomorrow.
Yeah, you're just there because you both have the sparkle in the eyes.
Yes. I had this experience also in Sydney, which is funny. My best one night stand I ever had, which was also the best sex of my life at that time. He was like not a person I would normally go home with, similar to you. And I wasn't looking for, like, I just wanted to have fun with my girlfriend that weekend, similar to you. I'm noticing all this now. And he was fresh out of a long-term relationship, classic.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that till we got to his house and there was like pictures of them on the wall and I was like,
You're like,
are you in a relationship? And it was like, we broke up a few weeks. So I was like, okay, cool. But
face those the other way, my friend.
yeah, totally. I was like, can we not look at her while we're having sex? But he was really like, I really want to have some like rough sex. I was never able to do that in my relationship. It's always been something I've really liked. Like, how would you feel about that? And I was like, sure, I'll just tell you if it's too much. But I'd never really explored that at this stage. I was about the same age as you, actually, I think, probably about 22. And I was kind of nervous, but I was just like, this guy, who cares? Like, he's awesome and cool and whatever, but like, I don't want to date him. So it gave me the freedom to like do that. And I learned that I like rough sex in certain moments. And also it was really nice because I didn't feel, it's going to sound weird, but I didn't feel like degraded. And I think it's because he wasn't my boyfriend. We have all these expectations around like boyfriend, you know?
And how we want them to see us because society has said like, you have to be adored, you have to be angelic, you have to be viewed in this certain way.
Yeah.
And I think all women go through a process of breaking that lie apart over their lifetime.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is interesting because I do think sometimes when you're having kind of like rough sex with somebody who is so consensual about it. Like you mentioned that he'd checked in first,
fully,
and that's part of why it's more safe and more comfortable. It's like letting loose.
Yeah.
I think that's why it can be so rewarding, is because it's like, I don't have to be pretty. I don't have to be anything. I'm just going to be animalistic.
Yeah.
You know?
It's kind of like putting on I feel like a one night stand is kind of like putting on a costume. And it's strange because I don't mean it in the sense that you're like dissociating, because in a good sexual situation you want, but like there's a feeling of like, I can be anyone right now.
Yes, it's like when you're going out on the town with your girls and you're like, you've got a brand new dress and you're like, I look like a movie star tonight.
And I could be anyone who meets me and doesn't know me. I can be whoever I want to be to them. And that's kind of how it feels in the bedroom when you're having a one night stand, for me anyway, because I'm like, oh, this person doesn't know me sexually.
Yeah.
Like I could be into anything.
It's like with traveling, you know, when you first start traveling when you're in your 20s and you've never been out of your society and you go out and you're on your own, you're like, nobody knows me here. I can just like let loose these parts of myself that I never would have thought existed. And it's kind of like that. I think any new experience or any like different experience helps bring out parts of you that you feel excited by.
Yeah. And also like parts of yourself that you don't know. And I think that's what life is about.
Yeah.
Like for me personally, I'm also a collector of experiences. I mean, we tell stories, like it's part of who we are. I think early on I was just so curious about so much stuff, and I was like, the more I can do, the more I can understand myself in the world and what I like, and it was just like an exciting process for me. But I'd love you to share, if you feel comfortable, what things like you actually learned about yourself during that period that you didn't know or think would happen.
Okay, well, I do have one good story. Okay. Actually, with the same friend. So this is how we met each other, but she's now been one of my closest friends for 10 years. So I went down to visit a different person who was dating her at the time. And we were all out drinking one night, and I guess they discussed it first and I didn't really know. But when we all got back to the apartment, it became pretty clear that they were like offering. And I was like, fuck it, I'm going to try.
Nice.
So I had my first threesome the first night that I'd met her.
Wow. What a great way to start a friendship.
It really was. It really was. And then over the next few times that we spent time together, we had a couple of threesomes, we had a couple of foursomes. And I guess one of the things that I'd learned, I'd always had this perception that threesomes and foursomes were like these very hot and heavy porn type sexual it can just be super fun with your friends.
Yeah.
Like I did not expect it to feel emotionally the same, like having a night out and just partying and getting to know each other and having deep chats. It's like it can be so playful and it can be so silly, and all four of you can be giggling. And I found that really freeing. Like I was like, okay, noted. I prefer foursomes to threesomes.
Yep.
And I like them. And I wouldn't have expected that of myself at all.
Yeah, cool. That's so cool. I think that's such an interesting thing with sex in general and sort of just exploring it. So people always say to me, oh, like nothing seems to shock you kind of thing. And I'm like, well, I mean, I think that's why I write about sex, because it's just nothing to me that feels off limits. I'm kind of like, if you came to me with a, hey, maybe you'd really like this, I won't say no unless I know that I don't like it. I'm always open and willing to try new things. And I think it's because every time I've put myself in a situation like that feels uncomfortable, where you're like, I'm about to enter a threesome. This feels like a lot of pressure. Am I going to have to be like super sexual, like about it and vibey, you know? You get into the situation and you're like, it's so much more relaxed than you anticipated.
Yes.
And then you're like, oh, that was really easy and chill.
If there's anyone out there listening who hasn't had one of those experiences and they're kind of like wondering what we mean, think back to when you're like going to house parties and you're giggling and you make out with your friend.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
That's what it's like. Or even when you're like, you go to a house party and you have a connection with someone and you just like end up being like on a bed, just like talking and like laughing and stuff. It's like that, but you're just like naked.
Yeah.
You
exactly.
know? Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you explore your sexuality at all? Because you mentioned before that you're bi, or you identify as bi. Was that something that came out during this era of your life too?
So that came out in a funny way. I think this is a really common bi experience. And I think we've actually talked about this in our like friendship before as well. One of the things that can happen when you're bi is that the reason it takes you a long time to come out is because you see women as gorgeous and beautiful and you see men as gorgeous and beautiful.
Yeah.
And you have feelings of, I really want to be closer to you and I want to get to know you. When we were growing up, the reason why it became a bit harder is you're like, okay, those feelings when it's towards a woman is I want to be her best friend or I want to be her. And when it's towards a man, it's I want him to be my boyfriend.
Right.
And so you kind of like learn to disassociate and compartmentalize this essentially feeling of adoration and desire and tell yourself that they mean different things. And so I thought I was straight for a really long time. Maybe not totally. Like, I definitely have some memories of when I was younger seeing like a girl on TV with her bra on and nothing else and being like, I like the look of that, you know? But I was in an unhappy relationship that was ending and I was out on the town and I was drinking heavily and the person that we mutually dated was out and
she's very forward. It's
she's
a very,
very
helpful
forward.
way to like, she was the same thing happened, you know, she brings you out of you're like, oh, I think I'm
people always used to joke that she would like go for straight girls. I don't think so. I think she has a great bi radar.
Yeah.
And so
Totally.
she came up to me, consoled me, had flirted with me a few times in the past, and from that point on it was on.
Yeah.
And I was kind of blown away by my level of attraction. It was like, I think the first time you are with a woman that you're drawn to and you have this level of your sexuality that you haven't unearthed before, it's like a tsunami.
Fully.
Like I was so obsessed.
Me too. I think we had this, it sounds like we had the same experience. I'm sure we've talked about this drunk at some point. I don't remember if we have, but probably. Where, and I'm sure she wouldn't mind us talking about it because we're going to talk about her in a glowing way.
We're both still friends with her.
Yeah, exactly. But I think it's a thing like when a woman is so clearly into you that you're like, oh, I can just like experience this freely and
absolutely
not feel worried about how she's going to respond.
And part of what happens with a lot of like queer women that they don't recognize their queer sexuality is because society is kind of conditioning you to associate your sexuality with being desired.
Right.
And so if you grow up heterosexual, you kind of almost can't stay sexually attracted to somebody who isn't like, whoa, about you, you know?
Yeah.
And one of the things about the person that we mutually dated is she makes you feel desired. So
Fully.
it can really like show you whether or not that is something that you're into.
So true. I mean, I think it's sort of like an amazing thing that she like can do, but then also maybe the thing that she struggled with because she'd always make people feel that way. And then us, I don't know about you, but definitely me in that moment, I was like really overwhelmed and then also kind of confused. And I'm not sure that she really loved that, which is so fair enough because she's like, I want you to be like into me. And I'm like, I am, but I'm also just working out like the way that my brain has been wired for so long is actually not true.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely wasn't confused. I knew I was into her. As soon as it happened, it was really on for me. But I definitely know that she felt the shadow of that experience happening to her a lot of times.
Yeah.
And so we would kind of go through this battle of if I wanted to like sleep together, maybe we were working late. I mean, we were working late, we were drinking a lot during that time. And it's not like when you work 9 to 5 and you have the whole weekend to go out on cute park dates, you know?
Yeah, totally.
So a lot of the time it's just like you finish work, you start going drinking, you have a wild time, and then you go home together.
Yeah.
And on the nights that we'd go home together, she'd be like, but do you like me? And I'd be like, yes. And then on the nights where I'd be too exhausted, I wouldn't want to go home together, she'd be like, but are you not attracted to me? And I'd be like, I am. Like,
Yeah.
I both like spending time with you and I like sleeping with you.
Yeah.
It wasn't complicated for me, but because she'd had so many experiences where that was kind of where the disconnect happened.
It sounds like you were a lot more cognizant of like what was happening than I was. I think I was just really not confused that I was into her. I was definitely into her, but I was confused by my own like level of attraction just in general to like a woman. I was like, what? Like,
right.
You know, I was like, this is so strong and nothing I've ever felt about a woman has felt like this before. So it was like huge. And then I almost couldn't get past it.
You need time to metabolize.
For sure. And also I feel like I was having all these other really great experiences with men as well and learning so much about my sexual power. I guess this is also an interesting thing. Did you feel like you learned a lot about your sexual power during that period?
I don't think it was about my sexual power. I think it was my capacity for lust that I learned about. I had imagined, because this was my experience with men, that unless I came, I wouldn't really enjoy myself. That my experiences with men were rewarding if it lasted a long time, if they were attentive to my needs, and if I came at some point. And with women, when you're topping and you're not being touched, you can have a long period of sex where nothing is happening to you.
Yeah.
And afterwards you feel the like full body, like muscular glow as if you have come 50 times, which that was a whole, I had to rethink a lot of things to be like, oh, wow, I didn't know it could be so rewarding when it wasn't for me.
We're going to take a quick ad break, but please stick around. We'll be back soon with more The Sex That Changed My Life. The bounds of sex are just so huge, and we've only really been taught like the very necessary means of which to get pregnant when you're a young person. Like you don't really get taught about all this stuff. And I think this is, you know, such an important reason why I'm advocating for one night stands. I think they are necessary in our sexual makeup and in our world to learn about like all the stuff we're talking about. We wouldn't know if we hadn't done that, I don't think.
Yeah.
Right?
And most of my relationships have started as one night stands, or maybe not one night stands in the sense we might have met each other, but I intended them to be one night stands.
Right.
And then I was like, ooh, actually something magic is here.
Yes.
So it's not like the one night stand itself can be wonderful, but sometimes it can blossom into something you weren't expecting because you realize that there's this connection, this intangible thing that you couldn't have discovered just from talking.
Completely.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a good spot to also go into the one night stand that we started this episode talking about, because you said it was like a magic experience, but then you didn't fall in love with this person, did
No,
you? Yeah.
not
So
at all.
firstly, I want to know like what made the experience magic. Like, can you go into a little bit about like what the sex felt like? And
Well, I guess there was this, it is quite hard to describe. I think there was like this intense magnetism between the two of us. I think he is or was a very intense kind of person. And I think he had a lot to prove. And so he was. So part of it was, you know, pure skill at everything that he did with his hands, with his mouth, with everything.
wow.
But part of it was just, it's like, okay, you know when you have a crush on somebody and you touch for the first time and you feel tingles everywhere? That's what it was like. It's like the air was just full of that. So, and I haven't really had that since, to be honest.
Do you think that's just a physical thing that some people's bodies have together?
I don't know. I don't know whether it's spiritual or physical or it's intangibly wonderful. That's what I know.
Yeah.
And like I say, I haven't had that experience before, since I've had a lot of very different, wonderful experiences, but that was very unique for me. And I almost didn't do it.
Yeah, because you were like, no to the Australian men. I love that for him though. He's like, no, I feel like this is going to be different, and he like persevered.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah, and like, you know how girls have their little nicknames for their other friends. So
Yeah.
he's the sex god to all my
Nice.
friends. Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so, did you ever read Angus Thong's In Perfect Snogging?
No.
Oh my God, it's a like childhood classic, and she had a guy in school that she really wanted to date, and she called him her sex god boyfriend. So he's like your sex god. But then, so if you had this magical experience that was like tingling in your body, why do you think that didn't lead to a relationship?
Well, not to speak ill of the dead. He's alive. I would say his personal qualities. I would not be interested in dating someone like that. He was a bit of a mess of a person, you know. I think some people tend to avoid discomfort, avoid their own emotions, avoid. That is not my thing.
No.
I like people who are very open. I like people who know themselves.
Yes.
And he had some pretty unhealthy coping skills that I just wouldn't be drawn to. He was charming. He was intelligent. He was a lovely guy.
Yeah.
But no part of me wanted to go back there.
But that's so interesting to me, because I just think it like really busts the myth that you need to be emotionally compatible with somebody to have great sex with them.
And it busts the myth that when you have great sex, you as a woman will somehow be tied to him forever.
Yes.
I was not tied to him
Like, you're
forever.
going to fall in love and then he's going to, like, you know, never be able to get rid of you,
Yeah.
is the story.
Yeah, it is. Or that some part of you will be lost or broken. And I don't feel lost or broken from any of my experiences.
So when you're having sex with him and, like, and the aftermath, I think even more the aftermath, actually, like when you finally left his house after 8 hours or however long it was, incredible, by the way, and felt rejuvenated even though you hadn't had any sleep by the sounds of things, you were like, okay, like that was an incredible experience, never expected that to happen, don't want to date him.
Yeah, like bungee jumping.
Yeah.
I did it once.
That is so great.
Yeah.
So do you look for the feeling that you had with him in the bedroom with other people at all?
No.
Yeah.
We all know what it feels like to be attracted to somebody. I think I look for a mutual attraction, and I look for, are you the kind of person who's going to treat me with respect and listen if I have to say no? And a cheekiness.
Yeah.
I like a cheekiness.
Yeah.
But aside from that, it's not got to be this mind-blowing, all-consuming. I think it's just got to feel like it's going to be fun for me
Yeah.
and them.
Yeah. So
But if I'm there, it'll be fun for them.
it'll be, yeah. Love. Have you thought about that situation since, or like gone and done it again, or was it like literally just a one-time thing?
One-time thing. I've thought about it fondly many times since.
Yeah. I just love the pace that you have with it, I think. I think I'm enjoying like you just saying, yeah, like that's what it is and that's it. Because
Yeah.
I just think as women, we're really taught to romanticize that feeling, you know?
Yeah. You know, I used the bungee jumping example, or you could talk about like climbing to the top of a beautiful mountain
Any
and seeing
high.
the view.
Yeah.
I might think back on that view many times, but I don't need to do the 6-hour hike again.
Yeah,
You know?
totally. But I think like we're taught to romanticize that feeling because I think we're taught to look for it. A lot of people are experiencing this right now, and I think it's super topical because everyone's like, I'm not finding connection. I'm not finding a spark. No one seems to desire me. I don't feel the way that I want to feel in sex. So then when you feel it, there's almost this pressure to like hold on to it, you know?
I have a theory on that.
Please.
I feel like it was easier for us when we weren't so attached to screens all the time. And I know that makes me sound a little bit old, but I think you can't deny that like constant source of dopamine production makes the rest of life a little less sparkly because your brain is like addicted.
Yeah.
And when I think back to some of the times when there was the most mutual connection going on, people were going out a lot more. People were doing a lot more things. People were less like glued to the screen. Instagram wasn't huge yet. TikTok didn't exist. Like people were looking for their source of serotonin and dopamine from each other.
Yeah.
And I think that's a much healthier way to go. And I think honestly, very, very honestly, if you're struggling to find meaningful connections with other human beings in this day and age, it's not just because men are trash, because not all men are trash. A lot of men are really wonderful and great company and really beautiful to be around. And if you're, queer or bi, there's women out there and we all know women are great. So I think if you're struggling to find that feeling of spark and enjoyment, then like minimize your screen time and you'll find it again.
I think also that, yes, the dopamine, of course, but I think also there's this thing of like things on the internet happen really fast, you know?
Yeah.
Like something will happen in the world and then it's all over social media. It's all over every media headline. Dating apps, you can go through hundreds of people a day. It's really quick. And then you'll swipe, we match with someone and then go on a date with them tomorrow. And it's like, how many times can you do that? As many as you want. It's limitless. And I feel like maybe like when we were younger, which really isn't that long ago, it felt maybe slower, felt okay.
Yeah.
Like you didn't have to have an incredible experience every week.
Yeah.
Like these experiences are rare. Like you're saying, you've only ever had this one like tingly, like it was the best one and there's one.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think one of the other things, because you talk about the swiping and also like setting aside the social media side of things, like the speed at which things move at the moment. I remember learning about a study, and I'm probably going to butcher it, but I'll give it a go. It was basically talking about people's level of enjoyment of the thing. It's proven that how much attention you pay to the thing results in your enjoyment of that thing. So if you're constantly thinking about the next thing, like I think a roster can be fun, but also if you're focusing on one person, you're going to learn that person a lot more deeply.
Yeah.
And I think like the more attention you pay to somebody in the moment and that you're not fixated on 10 other things in the back of your mind, which there's a lot going on in the world, can't blame you. But when you're really focused on one person, you're paying attention to them, which we had the benefit of naturally because like you say, we were kind of living more day to day. And so when something fantastic was happening, you were really like fixated on that in the moment. You'll get more out of it.
If you had to really sort of analyze that experience with that person and the like physical bond you shared, because I feel like I've only felt that physical bond like I could probably count on one hand.
Yeah.
Do you think you have like a theory on why it was so sparky?
I mean, that one took me out sideways. I wasn't expecting that one to be so good. And like speaking of that kind of like unique quality of that, when I told my friend who knew him, she was like, really? Because his ex-girlfriend used to complain that she didn't enjoy it at all.
Wow.
And I was like, well, he and I had a great thing. Like,
What was he good at? Can we talk about what he was good at?
he was great at oral.
Uh-huh.
That was the time I nearly passed out.
Wow.
He was great with his hands.
Great at oral, like he spent a lot of time down
He
there.
spent a lot of time, but also I've found oral to be one of the topics that I'm quite like unsure of why and when it works. Maybe it's because I can't visualize what's happening to me. I'm just kind of like experiencing it.
So interesting.
I find it very hard to communicate like, oh, can you do this to me? I can either say yes or no, this is working or this is not working. But then also sometimes I've had one or two people, this person, the sex god, being one of them, be like, just hold it. I know what I'm doing. And I'm like, okay. Like,
Wow,
I
love
didn't,
that.
Yeah. Like, oh, I'm not really feeling it. They're like, just wait.
Yeah.
Like they've got a plan.
Wow.
And so, yeah, he had a plan and it worked. And it was
Okay.
a very slow build where I wasn't really sure if it was going to be enjoyable. I was getting kind of like almost bored.
Yeah.
And then a crescendo that I just was not expecting.
That is so true, actually. Like, because there's always that, like, maybe 10 to 15 minutes at the start where you're kind of, like, warming up.
Totally.
And you're like, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then if they know to stick it out, like,
Yeah.
you just stick it out.
Also, you can relax when you can tell that they have they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the reason why it's so like, I don't know about this is because they don't know about this. And they're just kind of like feeling out the landscape.
I think we feel uncomfortable as women to, like, really sit in that, like, and just, like,
Because
wait.
there's pressure for us to come.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I like that point because I think when a guy's like, no, I know that it's going to take a little bit
I
of
know
time.
it's going to take a little bit. I'm enjoying myself. Just lay back and don't worry about
And
it.
enjoy. Okay, so that was good. So he was good at oral, and then sorry, I interrupted you because I got passionate.
And also, I guess we were just kind of like trying a little bit of everything. Like it wasn't kinky, but we were trying kind of every position. He was really sweaty, which I liked. I feel like when it was like in the middle of summer, it was really sweaty. It just felt very like raw and
Yeah.
wet and heavy. And I don't know. I just really, really liked that. So he also was very big and that helps as well.
Yes.
That was unexpected as well. But yeah, he wanted to be there.
Yeah.
He wanted me to have a good time and he was willing to take the time.
Yeah. Also, maybe he set him up for success with the whole, like, I don't date Australian men thing. Because I think maybe he was like, I'm going to prove her wrong. And I do think that is
I do think
a
that
real
was part
thing
of
for
it
men.
as well. Yeah.
They love it. They're like, oh, like, I feel so passionately about, like, proving you wrong in this moment that I'm going to, like, put all of my energy and effort into doing that. And you're like,
Yeah.
wow.
And honestly, I think that's why one night stands can sometimes be so rewarding. Like, you know, we've all been through the ups and downs of sex in a relationship as well. You go through like, you know, valleys and you go through peaks. And when you're in the beginning of any relationship, and a one night stand is the very beginning, you are always going to be at peak.
At a peak.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's also really true. I think have you ever had an experience where you've had a one night stand with someone that's turned into a relationship and then the sex sort of like what's the right word?
Tapers?
Yeah.
I've had it go both ways, where I've had what I thought would be a one night stand turn to a long relationship. We were together for 5 years. And we had periods of time where we were so hot and heavy all over each other and so kind of like bored in 5 minutes, to the point where you're like, is this really working? And then, you know, if you really care about each other, you sit down, you have the conversation, you say,
Yeah.
this is really uncomfortable to say, but our sex life is lackluster. Let's work on it. And then you go through the awkward thing of like communicating and being like, let's try this. And it's so forced and uncomfortable. And then all of a sudden you just slip back into the sexiness without even really trying again. So you can have it go that way. And that's really wonderful. That's the best part about love, is knowing that even when it's like tough sometimes, if you've been in it long enough, you know that you will get back there again.
Yeah.
But then sometimes it goes the other way, where it's like you kind of really start the relationship on a basis of this great sexual connection. And I think for me, when it's dipped and then not really gotten back again, it's when I realized that maybe I was in the sex haze and that person's qualities don't really match mine. Or alternatively, when it started out really like graphic and naughty and like illicit, and then they more and more start to see me as the Madonna, and then they stop pulling their hair and they stop calling you the names, and you're like, well, I really liked that. Why is that going away all of a sudden? Like the more you see me as a person, the more you like, I thought that was a play, and it should be, and now you can't do both. I don't know. Now I'm kind of out.
No, that's super interesting, because I think the other thing the reason I'm asking this is because I think a lot of people have the opinion that you shouldn't start a relationship with sex.
I always do.
I disagree with that. I immediately disagree with that, because I'm like, well, I mean, look, everyone's different. If you don't feel comfortable starting a relationship with sex, so fine. But I am definitely starting a relationship with sex is really, I like to do it that way.
Me too.
Because for me, like I think what you said earlier, having sex with someone just feels to me like getting to know them better.
Yeah.
It doesn't really feel like I'm breaking any rules.
Yeah.
You know?
And I mean, I think one of the things that's very clear that we share in common is the ability to break away if something isn't serving us.
Yeah.
And so part of the reason why I feel very confident to start with sex is because if I start to notice that the way that they're like behaving and they're the kind of person that maybe I can't respect and admire, like I can pull away. That's fine.
Yeah.
So it's not going to hold me there. But then on the other side of things, like I don't know if you've gone the other way where you've dated and liked someone for a really long time and then you finally get into bed and it's just never going to get better. That's
I have. I have.
That's a tough one.
That's actually a tragedy. Like I feel like you've got this built up idea in your head, and I think honestly, like it can be really fun to do things that way. But I don't love, like, I'm not loving unexpected surprises. Like, I do just kind of like to know. Yeah. Like, I don't think I don't get any pleasure from, like, stopping myself from knowing. Like,
right.
You know?
And, you know, I'm definitely not saying it has to be in one direction and not the other, because I've also had great relationships that started as a friend. Yeah. And we didn't sleep together for a year and a half. Yeah, and then when we did, it was wonderful. Yeah. I'm just saying you shouldn't deny yourself one or the other. Do you ever listen to Esther Perel?
All the time.
I love her. One of the things that she says in one of her interviews, they said, when's the right time to have sex? And she just looked at them and was like, when you both want to. Yeah. Yeah, when you both want to. Yeah. If the person's a good person who doesn't have like deep-seated, complicated issues that they're playing out on you, then they're not going to lose respect for you. Yeah. Because why would they?
Yeah. And then it reflects poorly on them. You know, it's like not really got anything to do with you.
If they behave like that after we've slept together, I'm instantly so turned off, I don't care.
Exactly. And if anything, it's like a really great way of like filtering that out and understanding that better, you know, on their part.
I don't want to find that out like later.
No. Yeah. And I also think, you know, all the sort of worries and fears that we have that people won't take us seriously if we have sex with them straight away, or they'll see us as like the whore, not the Madonna or whatever. It's like, I don't know. I just think that seeing somebody as a sexual person doesn't decrease their value. And I think that's something in our society that we just need to like get rid of, because we all like sex. We all want sex in our relationships. If we're not having it, we look for it elsewhere. Like we're lying to ourselves and like really stopping ourselves from enjoyment if we like live that way.
It's such a useless societal construct.
Oh, like who is it serving? Who is it serving?
Yeah. And it's so funny because a lot of the time when we hear that like narrative, it's from the people who want to have sex with as many people as they can. On the one side, it's like that whole lock and key thing. Like, get over yourself. Yeah. We should all be able to do whatever makes us feel empowered and happy and good.
Yeah, totally. And I feel this for men a bit. I think when I was younger, I got myself into a few scenarios where I'm talking about in the podcast a lot actually, but I was often the other woman.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes unbeknownst to me, sometimes beknownst to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I would always see the same pattern where the man was in a relationship with a woman who he didn't feel comfortable to express
himself
sexually,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like it was kind of this feeling of like, she's my wife / girlfriend / Madonna.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't do that with her. And I need someone else to do that with. I'm like, this is literally like 18th century talk. Like,
Yeah.
like you've got to have a mistress to have sex with and a wife to like uphold the societal standards with. Like, that's not serving you because you can't be honest in your relationship. And I'm sure that your wife, girlfriend, whoever would want to know that you feel that way about them.
And maybe they'd like to too.
Totally. You've not even given them the chance.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and like we was kind of saying before, part of the thing that's great about one night stands is you learn things that you didn't know you'd be into.
Yes.
And so what if your wife doesn't know it, but she could be really into that?
Exactly.
Share it with her.
Oh, like you could be encouraging like sexual expression and you're not, which I think is just like a tragedy.
Yeah, stop watering it down.
Yeah, for no one out there in the world is like that judgmental. And if they are, who cares? Like to be like, oh wow, you guys do what? You're married. Married people don't do that. Like we don't. I don't know. Maybe I just don't exist in a conservative enough space because that would never be a conversation that anyone would have in my life.
One of my dearest friends has been married for a really long time, has 2 kids, is our age, and she goes to swingers parties and she has like the wildest one-night stand stories that you'll ever hear, and their love is so solid.
Yeah.
So you don't have to be one thing or the other. Like whatever serves the two of you really well. And if you've got these great sexual experiences that you would love to have, and you're in a relationship, talk about it.
Yeah, totally. I want to end on like where you stand with one night stands now.
I think that it's all about you knowing yourself in terms of your comfort level. One night stands are a really wonderful experience, but also check in with yourself, see how your body feels. If you feel comfortable and safe and excited, do it. Don't feel ashamed of yourself for wanting that.
Mm-hmm.
If any part of you feels like this isn't right, you don't have to push yourself to do it just to be an empowered woman.
Yeah.
Check in with your body. Don't deny yourself. Whether the thing that you're trying to deny is your own discomfort or the thing that you're trying to deny is your own sexuality, just check in, see what you want, and you can learn a lot about yourself that way.
Love it. I fully agree. I agree on all points. We're so much more similar than I always knew we were similar, but we're so much more similar than I thought.
Yeah, there's a lot of like parallels there.
Yeah, so much crossover. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to need to have more drinks in real life.
Yeah, we should have a martini.
Yeah, or many martinis.
Great.
If you enjoyed today's episode and want to hear more from Peach, I've popped a link to her socials in the show notes. You can follow us at It Changed My Life Pod on Instagram and TikTok. And if you enjoyed today's episode, hit follow or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss out on the next one. We'll see you next week. The Sex That Changed My Life is produced by Rachel Tuffrey and Julian Morgans. This episode was edited by Ali Dickey. Our cover art design is by Rich Akers, photography by Ali Woods, and our theme music was produced by Jimmy Saunders. And this whole thing has been a Superreal production.
Superreal.